Hello and welcome everybody to the Your Best Self podcast, where I get to interview successful and or inspiring people that get to share their story, what obstacles they have been through in their life, and what lessons they learned along the way in order to inspire you and the world. My name is Robert Hurt, and today I'll be honored to be interviewing Eldredge Toliver, who went from being an introvert to becoming the CEO of Introvert Innovations and is now helping other people with social anxiety and the trouble of being an introvert to break free from that and live their life to the fullest and actually do the things that they want to do. Now, Eldredge was born a regular guy, but he always knew that he wanted more out of life. So we're going to go deep into his story, what obstacles he has been through, and what lessons he can share with you in order to help you become your best self. So with that said, Eldredge, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be hopping on this interview today. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm doing pretty good, man. Feeling pretty great. Got a great cup of coffee here, so I can't complain
Fantastic.
about too much. My grandma always told me any day above ground is a good day. And as much as I hated hearing that, it's true. It's true.
I love that. Yeah, it's crazy how sometimes, the advice that we get, early on, we kind of like do not understand at some points, but then we grow up sort of, and then we are like, that actually makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
So I love that piece of advice because, for myself as well, like every single day that I get to live, I truly appreciate because I know where I had the situation where I had a near-death experience and, I had a car crash where I basically nearly died. So I got a lot of appreciation for life. So I love that saying. So yeah, that's why go grandma.
Yeah, grandma says, I find that so much and I'll feel so old or so weird because I'll find going back to some of those old sayings my grandma says all the time. And people will be like, okay, your grandma was pretty great. I was like, yeah, I hated hearing that when I was 16.
Yeah. I bet. All right, so Eldredge, tell us a little bit about, your journey. Where did it all begin and, how did it develop?
Okay, so I mean, the basics of me, I always grew up kind of like a little bit closer to the urban, city, and it was always weird because I'm mixed. My dad was white, my mom was black. I sound like I sound, so I sound really, really proper, really, really nasally, all this stuff. So it was just so weird growing up. Being a mixed kid and being black and liking some of the things that I like was just always so awkward. I was always into anime, always into the computers, always into the tech side of things. Speech team, debate team, just all the nerdiest things that you could possibly want. And that was me. So growing up, my grandma raised us pretty much in the church as much as she possibly could. That was her thing. So we went to church every Sunday. She cooked every Sunday. That was the thing. We went to church like 3 or 4 times a week, it felt like. And just growing up, I always wanted to do something in business. So it was either I wanted to play football or I wanted to own my own business. I played football, but I was never really amazing. I just played football because I thought it would get girls. I think that's why most of young guys do the things that they want to do because
did it work though?
Kind of, not really. They were like, "You're still the band geek."
Yeah,
but it was okay. It opened my eyes. I'll say that. It's just having those experiences were just so cool because I was also the super nerd, but then hit my growth spurt in about 6th grade, and I was 6'2". So it was pretty awesome to be with the jocks and still be on the outside with everyone who played Yu-Gi-Oh! And I still was doing that. So that was pretty cool. High school was just that's the thing with me. I don't know about school these days, but high school for me just was not great. Obviously, they tell you like, oh, it gets better when you get older, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But at 16, you're not looking for the it gets better. You're looking for the why is my acne horrible? Proactive help. You're looking for that type of stuff. So just through those experiences, I just decided, hey, you know what? High school isn't for me. So I left high school when I got my GED thinking like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to college right away. I'm going to make something of myself. I don't need that. I could still probably get a scholarship, blah, blah, blah. College was way better. I'll say that much. I started out at a community college, absolutely loved it. It was smaller. It was close to the house. I was able to still relax and be with my family. And that's where I really found out that I had an immense love for business, for marketing, for those types of things. My teacher, man, he was one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. I credit him with pretty much all of my knowledge, all of my success. because he would say little nuggets. Like he would say stuff to me that would be so profound. It would just sit on my heart and I would think about it like, oh, that's so awesome. One of the things he said to me that just sat on my heart and made me really think about a lot was I was talking about trying to go through all of my savings so I can open my first business. And at this time in the class, he said, well, why are you using your own money? And to me, that didn't make sense. It's like, well, I mean, it's my business. I should use my own money.
Sure.
You know, why shouldn't I? And long story short, he was like, listen, the best thing about using someone else's money is you get all the benefits of the money, none of the risks that it takes using your money. He's like, why don't you get a grant? Like, I don't know. Why don't you go find an investor? I don't know. I don't want them to have a part of my company. So why don't you structure the company so they don't have a part of your company and all they do are an investor that gets paid back a dividend? And it's like a light bulb just exploded in my head. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Why don't I do some of these things? So I took a couple attempts at it and failed. I went with one of my friends. They wanted to do a music studio / record label. Failed miserably. We were underfunded, underexperienced, had no idea what we were doing. Took another swing at it with a landscaping company. It was just me and a couple friends with some lawnmowers. I had a little bit more knowledge. We were going at it a little bit better. In the end, I still didn't really know what I was doing enough to get it off the ground longer than, I think it was longer than about a year and a half. But to me, I was like, yes, we made it. We made it a year and a half, where the other one failed in like 6 months.
Wow. So it's a little bit of progress.
Yeah, to me, I was like, that's awesome. And then the last one that was very, very successful, outside of this one, the last one I credit, even the success right now, is a horse stable. I've always had a really, really awesome passion for horses. I credit my grandma again. Growing up, she did not allow more than one TV in the house, and that was in the living room.
I love that. I love that.
And we sat in the living room, and that's where we watched TV. And she was always a huge, huge fan of the cowboy shows. So Bonanza, Gunsmoke, The Rifleman, all of these shows that's what I grew up watching, because it was, if you want to watch TV, you watch what grandma's watching until she doesn't want to watch TV. And then you might have an opportunity to get the remote. But that just made me fall in love with everything. And my grandma one summer decided, hey, I want to put you in cowboy camp. Absolutely did not want to go. I'm like, Grandma, no way.
No.
They're going to make fun of me. There's no way I'm getting on a horse. I'm not doing that. I went, and then, it's like I said earlier, a girl was there. And I said, oh, man, she's beautiful. I'm going to get on this horse. And I got on the horse and absolutely loved it. It changed my life. Like, horses are so majestic and so powerful and such a different creature that sometimes I would rather be around a horse than be around a person.
Wow. Yeah.
Because they're so, so awesome. One of the awesome little nuggets from there is, this is what really cemented my love for horses and all thing, equestrian. My sister, she had the reverse. So I fell in love with the horses. She absolutely hated them, did not want to get on them. So it was completely over. If she ever sees this, she'll be mad I told this story. So long story short, she gets on one of the horses. They're showing us how to ride. I've been riding for a while now because I wasn't scared. I just said, okay. Her horse bolts. I react and take off after her horse to try to go get her so that she doesn't get hurt. A couple of the counselors reacted. They instantly get on their horse. We're literally flying. I feel like this is a Western, even as I'm telling the story. We're literally flying down a gravel path. And as I get to the right, the other counselor's to the left of her horse. And I'm going for her reins. I'm trying to slow her down. I really don't know what I'm doing. And I did not know that if I would have pulled back on the reins, their horses were trained to rear and she would have fell.
Oh, crap.
I just was thinking, I got to get the reins, because if I get the reins, I can control the horse. If I control the horse, I can save my sister. If I save my sister, I did a good job. The counselor's like, just fall back. So I listened to him after he snapped me out of my tunnel vision. And he ended up getting her, cornering the horse. Everything was great. But that just got me so excited for horses. So long story short, me and a woman named Noreen, she's absolutely one of the awesomest women I've ever met. I credit her with another one of my mentors. I was stabling one of my horses at a stable she owned. And this was just after we failed with the landscaping business. So I'll say this is about 3 or 4 months after.
Hmm.
No, I think it was, no, you know what? It was about a year after. It was about a year
Okay.
after, now that I'm thinking about it. Um, Stabling the horse there, everything's going great. And she asked me one day, she was like, "Hey, you went to school for business." And I was like, "How do you know that, Noreen?" She's like, "Well, I heard you talking about it with someone."
Mm.
And I was like, "Well, I went to school for marketing and stuff like that, but I mean, you know, why?" She's like, "I always wanted to be able to make it so that the horses can pay for themselves."
Mm.
And I was like, "Well, what do you have in mind?" She's like, "I don't know. That's what I wanted to talk to you about."
Yeah.
And so we sat down, started mapping stuff out. She was a sociology professor, so
Hmm.
we had such deep conversations all the time that sometimes we would get lost in those conversations.
Yeah.
And long story short, we found an awesome little place of land that was federally funded, and we
Hmm.
now own it for the next 10 years.
Wow.
We have 30 horses out there. It's pretty much on autopilot. I never have to go out
That's
there unless I
amazing.
want to go out there. But with that success, I mean, it powered me to move on and do bigger and better
Hmm.
things. And here we are today.
That's amazing. So now you have the like, is it the horse ranch or is it a
Yeah,
whole?
it's
Yeah.
so it's a full-fledged horse ranch.
Hmm.
We used to have a stable where we would charge the
Hmm.
stable other people's horses.
Hmm.
And then this ranch where it's trail rides, training your horse, training you on the horse, English
Hmm.
and Western. We were doing birthday parties for a while because we have some mini horses. We
Yeah.
had just started looking into doing weddings because
Hmm.
any wedding you do is a top-notch item because you have to pay for the transportation and there's so
Hmm.
many little rules and stuff,
Yeah.
but it ends up being a really, really good time for everybody.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I love that because, like I personally have not much contact with horses, but I know
Yeah.
my girlfriend does a lot and I have been on a horse before as well. So I know, this kind of feeling of being connected to the horse, kind of like feeling, and they're also like very compassionate and they feel, what you feel sort of, right? Where
Yeah.
they can sense that, right? So that
Yeah.
is very, very interesting. And building a business out of that, that's pretty amazing because now you're like, you're passionate sort of about the horses, right? And you love, riding horses, and now you have a business around that, and it funds basically itself, or it goes on autopilot, right? So
Yeah.
kudos to you to being able to build something like that up, because it provides a lot of joy to other people as well, right? Because I believe if people are truly passionate about that, they will gladly, pay money to be able to ride horses or take like let people take care of their horses. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And is that what you currently do full time? Because I know you're doing something else, or you're building, something else, Introvert Innovations as well.
Yeah.
What's now?
So right now, we're launching a couple different things over at Introvert Innovations.
Hmm.
Throughout my entire, I guess you'll call it my working life, uh, I've always worked in sales. I've always
Hmm.
worked closely with marketing in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And what I really wanted to do at the last place, I was just the senior sales director, trained the team, did a lot of the marketing, ran pretty much all the Google ads,
Hmm.
uh, overviewed everything. So it was
Yeah.
pretty much the buck stops here, and then the CEO.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was really, really awesome. It was really, really comfortable. I loved the environment. It wasn't toxic. It was really faith based, which was pretty cool with me.
Hmm.
And then, long story short, the CEO and I we kept talking about stuff, and it just a fire lit inside me, and I was like, I got to do this. It
Hmm.
just felt like that was the only thing that I can do, and I just told him, I'm like, hey, I hope I don't break your heart with this, but I think this is what I'm being called to do.
Mm.
uh, I'm an introvert. Like,
Yeah.
I am the biggest introvert. I am so comfortable at home. I am so comfortable on my laptop, maybe playing
Yeah.
Hearthstone or
Hmm.
watching my TV. I'm so comfortable sitting there reading a book or something.
Hmm.
That's how I recharge. So
Hmm.
for me to be in sales is probably backwards to most people,
Mm.
because
True.
most people expect that, hey, that outgoing guy, that, oh, this is awesome. Like, even as people are watching this, they're probably like, I don't know if this guy's an introvert.
Mm.
But the difference is, for me, and what I realized to be very, very true, is that as an introvert, yes, I recharge my battery. I recharge who I am and what I am by being by myself.
Hmm.
But when I start forming a relationship with someone, forming a bond, someone that I
Hmm.
become comfortable with, then I can let loose and be a little bit
Yeah.
more of what would be considered an extrovert,
Mm-hmm.
but that's only on a one-on-one basis.
Okay.
That's not like if we go into a crowded room right now, I will be looking at the floor and twiddling my thumbs because I know no one here. Now, if
Yeah.
someone introduces their self, then I'm going to start being open with that one person.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start having a really good conversation. We're going to start
Mm-hmm.
bonding and talking about different things. And the entire time in my sales and in my marketing career, me finding that out, I've been meeting people and meeting person after person after person at events we go to who are just like, oh, you're such a great salesman. And I'll tell them my story. Like, I'm an introvert. I
Yeah.
really am only talking because I
Yeah.
like you.
Mm-hmm.
If without liking you and having that connection, I probably wouldn't be talking.
Yeah.
And people just are so wowed and so blown away by that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would have other introverts asking me like, well, give me an idea of how you actually make that connection. Like tell me how you're making that connection so you can open up.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell them like, well, because I have social anxiety pretty bad, I tell that right away. I
Mm-hmm.
tell the person that I'm talking to like,
Yeah.
hey, I have social anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the elephant in the room. Once I
Yeah.
say it, I take back the power. So I'll say, hey, man, I have really bad social anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is what's going on. This is why it's going on. So I wanted to reach out to just make this first connection, introduce myself, say hi.
Mm-hmm.
And based off the energy that we're both putting out, I can pretty much tell how everything is going to go from there.
Yeah.
I've had sales where literally I'm still talking to the person even though they were no longer with the company, because
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that. And these are some of the stuff that I say comes from some of the people that I really like Zig Ziglar or Grant
Mm-hmm.
Cardone or Brian Flanagan. But I truly believe that if I help other people, that everything that I want in life, just by me helping enough people, just like Zig Ziglar said, that
Mm-hmm.
all the things I want is going to come back to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the whole idea behind Introvert Innovations. I want to help
Mm-hmm.
people that do have the same social anxiety as
Mm-hmm.
me, uh, take charge of their life again. Don't let that
Yeah.
social anxiety and being an introvert stop them from living out
Mm-hmm.
their dreams. So if they want to do like something similar to what you're doing, if they want to do a
Mm-hmm.
podcast, awesome. I want to give you that courage back again. I want to
Yeah.
give you that knowledge to know, hey, this is how you can create that as a business. This is how you can scale that business. When you're ready for your ads, this is the step you take. If you want to do sales
Mm-hmm.
over the phone or in person, this is the best system that I think would help you. And like I said, it just lit a fire under me, and I'm still
Yeah.
excited just talking about it.
That's amazing. I love that because I believe that a lot of introverts have this problem that they can't get themselves out there because they're so scared of
Yeah,
being in this environment. I mean, on one side, it's great to have all those online opportunities because that enables introverts to be sitting in their comfort of their homes and just chatting online and doing stuff like that where they don't really need to put themselves too much out there, right? So for me, like, I don't even know if I would consider myself an extrovert because I'm not. Like, I think I'm like an extroverted introvert because I can totally relate with what you're saying that, at the beginning, you're sort of a little bit held back and a little bit, not shy, but, a little bit, held back. But then when you get to meet this person, you are able to open up because then you
yeah,
realize, all right, this person has this kind of energy, I can talk to him about this stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, you're just opening up and you feel more confident and you're just able to be you, right? So I love that because I believe that a lot of introverts struggle with building relationships, and I believe that if you don't have meaningful relationships in life, then you will end up being lonely, right?
yeah,
And nobody wants to be lonely because that sucks, right? So I love that, because I think that that's going to help a lot of people. So, but it's interesting that you've been in sales because, like, I would be curious as well, like, being in sales, obviously you need to put yourself out there. Have you been doing cold calling or what was the sales?
Oh
You know?
man, I have literally done everything in sales that you could possibly
Mm-hmm.
imagine. I think, I've said this before, just thinking about it as an introvert, I think the main reason I'm super successful
Mm-hmm.
uh, is mostly because when I was in high school, I was in debate team. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in debate team, I was on the team. I had two events that I always would do. I would do impromptu and I would do oratory,
Mm-hmm.
and both of those were in front of huge crowds of people.
Yeah.
Impromptu was literally, they gave you a flashcard, gave you 10 minutes. Your ideal thing was you're supposed to prepare whatever's on this flashcard, prepare a 7-minute speech in 3 minutes.
Wow. Wow.
And then oratory was you had to write a 15-minute speech without your paper, and you had to get up there and perform it. And they would judge you based off of your performance, based off of what's called blocking, so the way you're moving, your hand gestures. And I fell in love with that harder than I fell in love with
I
football.
love that. Yeah.
My first speech was actually on rap music, because
Mm.
most people, rap music can be considered violent. It can be considered so many different things. And I wanted my reality for why I like rap music and why I think rap music, is portrayed the way it was.
Mhm.
And back then I thought like, hey, I could be a rapper maybe, because I know how to put words together.
Yeah.
But what really, really got me, the teacher, Miss Sebastian, said that your opening statement should punch the person in the face to get their
Mm.
attention.
Mm.
And my opening statement was me rapping, which you
Okay.
never expected that. I'm
Yeah.
15, 16, I'm walking in front of you in a nice suit, and
Mhm.
I start rapping.
Mhm.
It instantly caught everybody. I literally made it to
Yeah.
finals every single year.
Wow.
It was absolutely one of the biggest things. So I think that's what I
Nice.
credit it for. So
Mhm.
when I'm doing impromptu, I just have to come off of the cuff. I just
Mhm.
have to be witty. I have to be intelligent. I have to be able to go right there. And even as I'm being an introvert, like I said, I still have to make that connection with you.
Yeah.
But now I have to make it as soon as we have a first impression.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
if your energy doesn't match my energy, I instantly know. And that's one of the things that I teach when I'm teaching sales.
Mhm.
Actually, I had a girl, and when she watches this, because I'm going to tell her to, I had a girl named Mary that I was training
Mhm.
over at Easy Metrics, one of the most amazing places and amazing women. Mary actually was more of an introvert than me.
Okay.
Uh, Social anxiety through the roof. I literally did not think that she was going to be a great salesperson, because
Yeah.
as a sales director, I'm hiring people that are go-getters. I'm hiring people that can
Mhm.
pick up the phone without hesitation. And I may just be a rare breed that has kind of forced myself, and through the
Mhm.
pressures of life, been able to do some of those things.
Mm.
Mary was so shy when I got her. She came into work. She had like this amazing personality. Once you got to meet her,
Mhm.
was this amazing artist. Talked so well. She was so deep, so complex. Some of the conversations I have with her still blows my mind to this day. And she would get on the phone and freeze.
Oh no.
And instantly, for sales, that's horrible. And
Yeah.
these are warm leads. These are
Mhm.
people that actually said, hey, we want to talk to you guys.
Mhm.
She gets on the phone and freezes, or she gets on the phone and stutters, or she had a really bad habit of getting on the phone and getting the nervous giggles,
Mhm.
where she would be trying to relay some information and just break down and start laughing.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
Mhm.
Uh, 3 months went by, and I just did not want to fire Mary. I could not fire Mary.
Mm. Mhm.
First month, everything was horrible. Second month, I start seeing a little bit improvement.
Mhm.
Third month, Mary was on the phone like a champ.
Wow.
Yeah. And just to see that transformation, just to see her go
Mhm.
from I cannot do this to I can do this.
Mhm.
I can sell this. I can do this. Like that.
Yes.
That's what I want to be able to do for as many people as
Mm.
possible. And that's why this is such a passion to me.
Mm.
Because Mary literally was in, I don't want to say Shark Tank, but she was, so I have an Oscar. I'm looking across at my Oscar. She was the Picassomus in my Oscar tank. The
Yeah.
Picassomus is the sucker fish, it's
Mhm.
cleaning the tank. That Oscar is related to piranhas. And if it could, it
Mhm.
would get that Picassomus.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Mary was the Picassomus. She was the
Mhm.
thing that was very unique to the tank, but that was needed for the ecosystem of the tank.
Mm.
And once she stepped into her own, once she owned the energy, she owned those systems. Oh man, Mary
Mm.
was probably one of the best saleswomen. I can credit this.
Wow.
Mary closed a $15,000 deal. Same
Wow.
scary, quiet Mary that would. I've literally heard her hung up on somebody on the phone before because she was
Wow.
that nervous and that
Yeah.
bad. Mary closed a $15,000 deal, and I cried. I was so
Mm.
happy. I was so ecstatic. Mary did such an amazing job. Like
That's
that's what I
fantastic.
want for everyone.
Yeah. And what
I want that same win.
And what helped her on this transformation? Like, how did she got from, stuttering, not stuttering, but, having those nervous giggles and, freezing all the time to, in then 3 months, being able to become like a champ on sales? Because that's obviously, a very awesome transformation in a very short period of time. So what did she do in order to overcome that?
So the one thing that I did, I have a sales system, and as you can see, one of my alarms is going off as always. I have a sales system that I decided to put together. Alarm. Shh. As we can see how awesome this is. My sales system normally is gone. I'm sorry. My alarm
No
reminds
worries,
me
no
that it's
worries.
6:30.
Yeah.
And 6:30 is normally the time where from 5:30 to 6:30 is where I meditate. And then at 6:30, I kind of start locking in, answering emails, doing different things like that. But today I'm just so blessed to be here with you.
Got
But
it.
no big deal. But so the first thing I do, I thought about what made me successful.
Hmm.
And then I was like, well, how do I translate that into someone else? How do I
Hmm.
transfer that into someone else? And at the time, I really had no idea how. I would just be like, I don't know, I just do it. I flip that switch and I talk to the people and I make that bond and I make that connection and then we make a sale. I don't know what I do, I just know I do it. And as I start really, really digging deep and thinking, I end up coming with literally 4 steps. I was reading Story Brand Marketing by Don Miller. I was reading that, and he was talking about making it so simple that even a caveman can understand it.
Yeah.
And I was like, so how do I simplify my approach to sales? And I was like, so what do I do as soon as I get on a call? And so I thought about it. The very first step, it's technically 3 steps, but the very first step was considered 0 for me. And I was like, because I don't do anything. I meditate, I think. Just like that's why I said I'm up this morning at 5:30 because I have to zero myself out. I have to find my equilibrium for the day. And I had noticed that I did that before every single call. I noticed that, okay, I'm meditating. I'm putting myself at a 0, a Zen state or a flow state, somewhere where I'm comfortable within my own skin, comfortable around myself. And that was the first step. That was literally 0. So when Mary would get nervous, as we're going through these 4 steps, I'm like, hey, Mary, 0. And she's like, 0, 0, 0, 0. And she would start getting on the phone. And it was like once she inhaled and then she exhaled, she was like a different woman. It's like she started taking the power back and moving into it. So 0, I always said it was like the gas station. If you have a car, I always told people, because I wrote a couple keynotes on this and had to do them. I always told people, imagine you're in your dream car, and when you start that car up, you feel the engine roaring, you feel the leather just being around you, you smell the car, you just completely embody your dream car. And as you do that, you're looking and you see right over on the dashboard that the light's blinking. It's going off. You're like, what the heck is that? You realize that it's short on gas. And the first thing outside of gas that you need to get in a car to go anywhere is the same thing you need for your business or for your sales to go anywhere. You need energy.
Yeah.
So 0 was literally energy. 0 was, hey, there's 3 types of energy. 0 was, Mary, you need to get to this. You need to remember why you're doing this. You need to get to a Zen state, get your energy where it needs to be. And I broke that down to 3 steps. It's high energy, low energy, and no energy. I said high energy is contagious. High energy is me off of 7 cups of coffee or me off of a Bang energy drink. But what high energy really is it's your belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Your belief in the product or your belief in the company or your belief in something greater than you. For me, and I always tell everyone this, I have a 2-year-old, or excuse me, she's 3, going on 33. Serenity is my energy. If I am having a horrible day, I've gotten cussed out on the phone, or a deal fell through, or I had a flat tire or anything, I literally take that time to 0 out and to get back to high energy by remembering what my motivation, why am I called to do this? What am I doing? What is the purpose? And I'll think about my little girl. I'll think about her. I'll just really lock it in my head that, hey, get back to high energy. And then low energy, everyone goes through that. Sometimes you wake up on the side of the bed where it's like, not today.
Mm.
Alarm clock, I'm throwing you across the room, just not today.
Yeah.
And I always told people, if you have low energy, that's perfect. You can correct that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can remember zero, which is energy, which is motivation, which is why you're doing this. You can get right back to the high energy by remembering, for me, like I said, my kid. Man, I hate getting up at 5:30,
Mm-hmm.
but I know the benefits of me waking up early.
Yeah.
I know that once I reach that Zen state, that flow, I'm feeling great. My entire day is amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about anything. Even when it starts getting 12 o'clock and I need to make another cup of coffee because I've been up for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
my entire day just feels more grounded.
Yeah.
And doing this before every single call, it's like mini breaks of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So from energy, the first thing I went through is P.O.G.O, which I credit that to Brian Flanagan.
Mm-hmm.
P.O.G.O for me, it was person, organization, goals, and obstacles. That's what it stood for. Now it also stands for Pokemon Go if you're a nerd, because that's what we call it. But it was cool because as I read about P.O.G.O,
Mm-hmm.
me being an introvert, like I said, I need to make friends with the person before I feel comfortable doing anything.
Yeah.
And P.O.G.O was literally the vehicle that was able to allow me to do that.
Mm.
I learned that super early on in my sales career. I want to say around when I was 18. I think I was doing door-to-door stuff when I was 18. I think I was
Okay.
selling vacuums, Kirby
Okay.
vacuums, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
And that sucked.
Mm.
That was one of the worst jobs ever.
Yeah.
But it was awesome because it gave me a lot of good experience. But if anybody does door-to-door, I believe they can do anything. I believe they're almost able to
Yeah,
walk
I
on
bet.
water
I
because
bet.
that is hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
It is
I can
very
only
hard.
imagine how hard it can be. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can tell you so many stories that were
Yeah.
miserable. But
uh,
P.O.G.O allowed me, and this is the crazy part. So I got a chance to meet Brian Flanagan,
mm.
actually, the inventor of this entire system that I'd been using and taking it on my own and
Mm-hmm.
making tweaks to and re-innovating it so it would be more comfortable with me. And I literally got a chance to present to him the way I had changed his system. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
Eldredge, that's absolutely awesome.
Nice.
That was perfect. He's like, I literally couldn't have explained it. So the way I explained P.O.G.O was, as you're talking to the person as the P, that's their opportunity to get to know you, for you to
Mm-hmm.
get to know them. And most salespeople are looked at so poorly because it's, here, buy this. I don't care about you. I care about that money in your pocket. Take
Yeah.
this. I'm going to go about my business. See you later.
Mm.
And this system was the opposite of that. This
Mm-hmm.
system was literally like customer friendly. Just, we are good friends.
Mm.
We can get to know one another. And the tweaks that I made to the system, whereas normally, like, if I'm getting to know the person, I may be asking you about your job, I may be asking you, tell me a little bit more about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a discovery process when you're talking to someone who may be interested in buying.
Yeah.
And that was awesome to me. So then from the P, you would go to the O. O is organization, and so many different views on that. Like, my view was, hey, if I'm selling a $10,000 program, I want to know where you work because I
Mm.
don't want to try to match you poorly with something. And now it's just a bad conversation for the both of us.
Yeah.
I later found out, talking to Brian, that it can be interpreted in many different ways. It
Mm-hmm.
can be interpreted as, let's say I'm selling steak knives and I'm selling it to a house. The
Mm-hmm.
organization could then be the family. So that blew a light bulb up because I was like, awesome, I can talk about families with people.
Yeah.
I love talking about my kid. I talk about her
Mm-hmm.
every opportunity I get. So I can just be real and have a good conversation with someone about our kids, about, normal everyday life stuff. And then G was, what was your goals? I have not met a salesman yet that really, really asks what your goals are, like
Mm.
why they're concerned with anything you're doing. And for me, like I said, this deepened that bond. This made me really understand what your goals were. Like, hey man, what are you trying to achieve by learning digital marketing, or by having your business grow, or by running this Google ad? What are your realistic goals? And then tell me what your dream goals are. And we would sit back and talk, and I would listen. And some of the stories I heard were amazing. Some of the triumphs that I heard from someone telling me their goals, learning digital marketing, and then succeeding in those goals. Like, I'm just so honored to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would ask the hard questions. So the last O is obstacles. I would say like, man, listen, I believe in you because you've given me enough of your trust right now. What are some of your obstacles? Why haven't you done what you said you want to do? You said you wanted to make $5,000 a month this year. Why haven't you done it? And I would listen to people tell me the truth. And I would ask them like, hey, if you want to be transparent, that's awesome. If you don't, that's fine. I'm like, but I can only help you based off of the information that you provide to me. And some people would be honest, hey man, you know, it's the money, or I just don't know what I'm doing. It's the knowledge. And I always felt so bad when people would tell me it's the money, because I don't feel like there's a shortage of money. I feel like there's a shortage of time, and I feel like there's a shortage of drive, and I feel like there's a shortage of knowledge. I don't feel like there's a shortage of money. Yeah. Because going back to what I said with my teacher, I was saving up to start a business. There are people that have already become successful that if I can show them the merits in my idea that would fund my dream, that means that there is no shortage of money. Now, granted, I understand that there's struggles in the inner city. I grew up close to one. I understand that there are still homeless in America. Yeah. I understand all of that. But I also understand on a deep, deep, deep level that I watched my grandma work a job even till today. Even to where I'm like, hey, grandma, I don't want you to work. You know, I've become relatively successful. How about you just let me take care of everything? And my grandma always told me, you know, if you don't work, you don't eat. Yeah. Like, so I'm going to continue to work. My grandma is 67, still working. And kind of an oxymoron. And I hope she doesn't see this. My grandma beat cancer. Awesome. So awesome. She beat cancer. That was super rough time for me.
It's awesome.
And for her, obviously, because she had the cancer. But my grandma beat cancer and now works at a tobacco house.
Oh man.
So I give her crap for that all the time. But the fact that I've seen such a strong work ethic my entire life, that tells me that if you want something bad enough, there is nothing that can stop you. Yeah. There is absolutely nothing. You are your biggest obstacle. So as people would tell me, like, I don't have money, or this is too expensive, I would be honest and tell them about my grandma. Or I would be honest and tell them, like, hey man, I didn't always have money. I don't own a Tesla right now. You know, I don't own a Mercedes Benz. I'm a normal guy. Like, if you go on my Facebook, that's why my business page says regular guy Eldredge, because I am a normal dude just like everybody else. Yes, I got a little bit of money put in the bank, but I'm a normal dude. Yeah. You know, I don't want to be greater than anybody else. I want everybody else to just everyone be on the same level. You know, I'm really big on equity instead of equality. I'm really big that everybody has everything that we all need. And so now that I've asked this person, hey, what are your obstacles? Now that they've opened up to me, now that I've shared a big part of my life to them, the next thing I do is the yes rule. This is very salesy. So most people will judge me for this. And this comes from Grant Cardone. This comes from Brian Flanagan. This comes from Zig Ziglar. This comes from almost every salesperson that I've had that's been an influence in my life. But the yes rule is simply, how do I make it the most comfortable for this person to say yes to me? This is without lying. This is being transparent. But how do I get them to say yes? Because at the end of the day of sales, it is about the yes. Yeah. It's still about pairing them with a great product or great service or great need and answering that need and helping them. But how do I get this person to finally tell me yes so that we can go ahead and nail this down? They're happy. I'm happy. What I would do, here, I'll give you an example. So are you good at math? I'm going to turn it on the tables on you a little bit. Are you pretty good at math?
I'm decent. Yeah.
All right. Now I'm letting you know beforehand that this is a trick. This is actually how I trained it too. This is a trick. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and then we're going to see exactly why this rule works. All right. So what's 1 plus 9?
10.
All right. What's 10 plus 0?
10.
What's 11 minus 1?
10.
What's 12 minus 2?
10.
What's 8 plus 2?
10.
What's 7 plus 3?
10.
What's an aluminum can made out of?
I have no idea. Aluminum.
But see, this is
Yeah.
why this works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your mind had started to become programmed to say 10.
Mm-hmm.
The suggestive themes behind 10, 10,
Mm-hmm.
10. If you would have said 10, that would have been the common answer that
Uh-huh.
90% of the world gives.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Even the pause that you gave is
Mm-hmm.
a big thing in sales.
Mm-hmm.
So with the yes rule, I want to ask you as many questions
Okay.
possible that
Mm-hmm.
will elicit the answer yes, but I also want them to be things that are factual. So I don't want to just be like, hey man, is it sunny out there? Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty sunny. I want to ask you things that are relative to the product. So if
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be doing some done for you marketing for you, I want to ask you like, hey, give me an idea of what exactly you guys want. And as I listened, as I paid attention during
Mm-hmm.
P.O.G.O, I can say, so one of your problems that you said is you want to be able to build a stronger brand. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now they're affirming
Mm-hmm.
something they already said. They're seeing that I'm paying them good attention,
Mm-hmm.
and it's setting the groundwork for them to be more comfortable with saying the eventual yes.
Mm-hmm.
The last step in that whole little four system step was you literally have to ask for it.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to get told no.
Mm.
Because the yes rule may fail. There is no guarantee. I've asked
Absolutely.
people yes 10,000 times almost, and then they still said no at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked people yes 2 or 3 times, and they said yes right away. I've
Mm-hmm.
had people call me and say, hey, I don't need you to sell me anymore, Eldredge. I loved our first conversation. I just wasn't ready then.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move forward.
Uh-huh.
I literally had a woman, amazing woman. We were working with her, training her company, doing some sales training just like this, doing some digital marketing stuff, getting her company really equipped. And she talked to me 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Called me about 4 days ago and said, I literally was looking for your number, Eldredge, because I specifically wanted you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, Cindy, thank you. That's a great
Yeah.
compliment. She's like, I
Absolutely.
remembered your voicemail. We made a real connection.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's what it's all about. So like
Awesome.
that system that I just went through briefly is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what got Mary to in 3 months
Mm.
feel comfortable picking up the phone. It just
Mm-hmm.
became automatic.
That's amazing.
And I've done everything. Like I said, I've done door knocking. I've sold roofing insurance knocking on doors. I've sold vacuums knocking on
Mm-hmm.
doors. I was the salesperson for the stable selling trail rides and weddings
Mm.
and birthday parties. I've done just regular cold calling, which I hate. I've done warm lead generation to where
Mm-hmm.
now these are our leads and I'm calling our leads. I've even done everything every other digital marketer's done. Yes, I've cold DM'd a couple people. Hey, how you
Mm-hmm.
doing? Just wanted to
Yeah.
introduce myself. The thing with all of that is that even as an introvert, cold DMs are a lot better. Emails are a
Mm-hmm.
lot better because I don't have to freeze up.
Yeah.
You know, I can take the time to just still be myself
Mm-hmm.
over an email.
Yeah.
And I know that the power of words is huge. So I can take the time to really get to know the
Mm-hmm.
person if they choose to engage. But that same system, that's literally what I noticed I do every single sales call, every single sales
Mm-hmm.
meeting, if it's in person. I realized that I use the yes rule uh, on my spouse sometimes,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
even realize it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Sweetheart, you really want me to take the garbage out, don't you? Yes.
Yes.
And she'll just keep saying yes. And then I was like, hey, I'd love to watch this movie. It is really nerdy. It's
Yes.
the Avengers movie.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
wait, what?
Got it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And I love, there's like so many valuable things that you've just said. I didn't want to interrupt you in any of those because you were just, flowing with a lot of, knowledge bombs and gold nuggets here. But I love, the P.O.G.O system, and it really goes to shows, with Mary was her name, right?
Yeah.
Who ran from freezing up, on calling people in just 3 months using that kind of system to become basically, a sales champion. And, there are lots of, different things that you've mentioned, which are also very important, inside of the system. And, one of them that I want to touch upon is believing in yourself, and not
Yep.
only in yourself, but also in the product, right?
Mhm.
Because that personally was something, for me, obviously I was sort of in sales because I've been doing online marketing, for 3 or 4 years. And, I believe sales is relevant for pretty much every single one of us. Like, you got to sell it to your daughter why she needs to eat that broccoli or go to bed now, right? Everybody's a salesperson in a way. So you got to believe in what you are selling. And that was, an obstacle that I personally had, that sometimes, like, I was like, is this product really worth it? Like, can I put my name behind that? So that is very
Yeah.
important. And also, believing in yourself, obviously, because if you don't believe in yourself, you know, you will do subconscious things that will sabotage, you know, what you're trying to do, right? Because deep down, you know, like, this is not going to work, you know, I'm not made for that. So I really love that. And also, you know, what you said, always remember your why, because I
Yeah.
believe that way too many people have never really sat down and, you know, thought about, like, why am I doing this? Like, why is it so important? Where's the necessity coming from to actually pull that, you know, off and pull that through? And really, if you have a bad time, how can I get myself out of that? So for you, your strongest why is your daughter, and that's like a huge, huge why, because it's literally your daughter. It's like this
Yeah.
little human being that is, you know, coming, you know, like from you, and that's insanely powerful. Like, some people do not have a daughter or a child, but they still have or need to find out, like, what is your why. So if you're
Yeah.
watching this, like, and you might have a tough time right now, you know, really digging deep into, you know, why you are doing this, really sit down, take some time, meditate on that, and really find out, like, what is important to you. Because I believe that once you find that out, it's going to be so much easier for you to wake up in the morning, be excited about doing this thing, because you know why you are doing it, right? So, you know, that's absolutely amazing. And I also love, you know, the micro commitments, right? The yes rule, because in the end, those are micro commitments, right? Because everybody, like, as soon as they're saying yes, they're basically, you know, committing themselves, you know, to you, to the cause. And the more they say yes, now I've also learned that, you know, when it comes to sales, that the more they say yes, the higher the probability that they end up going to be saying yes to the offer as well. So, you know, amazing system, and thank you for sharing that, because I believe
Yeah.
that, you know, that's going to be very, very important for a lot of people. And also just the fact that, you know, you are meditating before going into the call, and, you know, sort of doing that before the next call, that's also very important, right? Because on one call, you might be having a shitty call, right? You maybe get cussed out, or, you know, the person on the other line is just, you know, rude or unfriendly, and, you know, it's like, nah, I don't want your shit. And then it's just like, you know, hanging up on you. And now
Yeah.
you feel bad, you feel down. And if you go, you know, onto the next call with that kind of energy, you will sort of, you know, not get the results you want. So it's
Yeah.
important to, you know, like, get into this equilibrium and, you know, get yourself, you know, to the flow state and to point zero again. So that's also a very important tip that I think a lot of people, when you are in sales, you should definitely, you know, try that out and do that. That's amazing. So we've talked a little bit about, or you have mentioned a lot of people that you are looking up to: Grant Cardone, Zig Ziglar, you know, Brian Flanagan. Who are your role models? Like, I could probably perhaps think that those are the people that you are looking up to and that you're, you know, mainly learning from. But are there other people that you have had a lot of inspiration from, or you're getting active inspiration from right now?
So I have two answers to that. I have one really nerdy answer, which, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, to all of my nerds out there, they're gonna love this answer. And then I have one answer that's just really deep for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you the nerdy answer first.
Go ahead.
Uh, Pokemon. I am
Mm-hmm.
in love with everything Pokemon. I
Mm-hmm.
actually, this hoodie is a custom-made Pokemon hoodie that has my
Wow.
Pokemon Go logo on the back. My
Uh-huh.
sister gave it to me for Christmas, and I just love it. I wear it all the time. Uh, but the main character, a lot of people don't watch cartoons because, you know, hey, I'm an adult now, I don't need to watch no goddamn cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm grown. Well, I'm an adult, I run a
Mm-hmm.
business, and I still love Pokemon, I still love
Yeah.
anime.
Mm-hmm.
And the main character, Ash, literally when Pokemon first came out, I was
Mm-hmm.
so little, but he was always trying and trying and trying and trying and trying to beat the gyms, to beat the
Mm-hmm.
league, and you constantly seen him fail after fail after fail. And if
Mm-hmm.
you search Pokemon and search Ash on Google, you'll literally see meme after meme that
Yeah.
now, after about
Yeah,
23
20
years
years. Yeah,
later,
he made it.
he
He made it.
finally beat them.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, from a nerd standpoint of view, that is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that tells you and embodies everything that I believe, that you never give up,
Mm-hmm.
because tomorrow may be your day. 30 seconds from now may be your day. But if you stop trying for yourself, if you stop believing in yourself, then it's over.
Yeah.
You know, so to me, my nerd answer, Ash Ketchum. That is one of my
Mm,
biggest role
that's
models
awesome.
because I've
That's
grown
awesome.
up with him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's one of the most awesome things.
Mm,
And then my deep seated answer, which this probably won't come as a surprise to most, but my grandma.
yeah.
My grandma is one of the biggest role models ever ever, ever, ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's more on a personal side, but because of her doing the things that she did, she influenced my business. She influenced the way I think about business.
Mm-hmm.
She influenced my work ethic completely. You know, my grandma, she got me when I was 10. We lived in Georgia. My mom was really sick, so it was the best for us to come up here. From that day that I came up here, my mom ended up passing a few months later because she had epilepsy. She ended up passing around when I was 11.
Sorry about
And
that.
so me, my sister, and my brother all were up here. I was new. I still had a southern drawl. I'm in Illinois now, so I sound a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more proper, you know, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more Midwestern.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up here completely lost, didn't know what I was doing, how I was doing. Like I said, I was 11. I thought I owned the world because I was a teenager pretty much. Uh, but my grandma has constantly been a deep source of inspiration and a deep source of a role model.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I tell myself that I want my daughter to be just like my grandma because my
That's nice.
grandma's independent. My daughter's also fiercely, ridiculously independent to the point
Mm-hmm.
where I actually made a Facebook status about it. It
Yeah.
breaks my heart and causes me to laugh tears of joy and cry
Uh-huh.
tears of joy all at the same time because I know shortly she'll be waking up.
Mm-hmm.
She's an early bird too. She's
Mm-hmm.
gonna want cereal.
Mm.
She doesn't want me to get the goddamn. She wants me to get a bowl, maybe if she can't climb up there and get it
Uh-huh.
herself.
Uh-huh. That's
She
awesome.
wants to do everything by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that is so motivational from
Mm-hmm.
what my grandma taught me. My grandma always taught me, like, I know how to cook, I know how to sew, I clean my house. I literally know everything that can make me, I guess, a complete person to be able
Mm-hmm.
to live by myself if I chose to.
Yeah.
And my grandma always drilled in me, like, hey, you know what? Like, stuff like this. This is one of her favorite phrases. Give me my flowers now.
Mm.
And that's referring to, you know, when people pass away, everyone remembers all the good memories and they want to bring flowers to the grave and they want to
Mm-hmm.
pay their respects and they want to show that they were
Yeah.
grateful. My grandma literally has told me since day one, give me my flowers now while I can enjoy
Mm.
them.
Yeah.
So
Don't
that
wait for
means,
it. Mm.
yeah, don't wait. So
Mm-hmm.
hearing stuff like that in an early age and letting it just sit
Mm.
and brew and
Yeah.
prepare me for later on in life, like that is one of my biggest role models. And like I said,
Mm.
people get tired because I'll always be like, hey, well, my grandma said, and
Uh-huh.
like, okay, listen, Grandma Mary, which that was probably another reason why I like Mary, because my grandma's name
Mm.
is Mary
Yeah.
Ann
Uh-huh.
and Mary's name is Mary Castro.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome, just both experiences. My grandma,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say that. I would say my third on a professional level. So I gave you like my nerd answer. I
Mm-hmm.
gave you like my personal answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then on a professional level, dude, I'm going to say Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not just the work that he does as far as a marketer,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that he's himself.
Yeah.
Like that is so huge to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is so huge. He doesn't care that he's going to swear. He doesn't care that he's, you know, anything to anybody else other than himself. He is
Yeah.
Gary. He's
Yeah.
living Gary's life. Like that's amazing to me.
Mm-hmm. That's very impressive. Yeah, for sure.
Like, and now, granted, yes, he has a bunch of money. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he has a huge company. That's awesome. Those are
Yeah.
all goals to aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
But my main goal is to just continue to be the same nerd that I am. To tell
Mm-hmm.
people, like, dude, I love Dragon Ball Z. I actually have a
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z statue right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just be myself, but
Yeah.
still
Be
get them
yourself.
those same results. Like,
Mm-hmm.
still crush stuff for them, and have them like, dude, I didn't think that some nerdy little anime watching, you
Mm-hmm.
know, debate team guy would have horses. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, I also like this.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And you're really good with these ads. Thank you. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And, because I also, agree Gary Vee is absolutely amazing and I follow, a lot of his stuff. I
Yeah.
haven't read any of his books yet, but I definitely watch a lot of his, keynotes and speeches because there are obviously tons of them. And I'm also very impressed, how he's able to just utilize one keynote and put that into like 10, 20 different, micro pieces of
Yeah.
content and to distribute that and on all different, channels, like 3 times a day. It's
He's
just like,
amazing.
so mind-blowing. Obviously he has a huge team who does that for him, but that's ultimately where I would love to get to, in the end. And that's why Gary is such a huge inspiration for myself as well, because I think he was also born in Russia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was also born in Russia. That's why I have like a little bit of a bigger connection as well. I was actually wondering if he is able to speak Russian still. I'm not too sure about that. I need to figure that out if he does. But anyways, I digress here. We've been talking about the P.O.G.O system. We've been talking about role models and your inspirations. And I love that your grandma plays such a big role, and that she's giving such awesome advice, right? Because that's, I believe, if you're growing up with that advice, you just gonna be so much further ahead than everybody else, right? Because a lot of people grow up in a lot of negativity, right? They see a lot of fighting around the house, and the TV is their best friend. Basically, they escape themselves into video games for 8 hours a day, because only video games tell you, hey, you're doing a great job, right? And you get that sense of making progress. And that's why video games are so so rewarding as well, right? Because you're obviously, like, every single hour you're making progress, and you're seeing that you're doing a good job. You're getting positive feedback from that, and that's what we usually don't get growing up, right? So that's why having such a grandma who is so supportive and is giving all that pieces of advice, I believe that it's definitely having a huge impact on how you are now. And basically everything that you did, from going to the debate team, doing horses, and building a horse ranch, basically, like, I would have never thought that you would be an introvert, right? Because introverted people would probably never do that, like standing in front of a crowd and having to do an impromptu speech, rapping in front of a crowd, going in sales. And I believe just because you did that, and because you massively came out of your comfort zone and got into the growth zone, that's why you became who you are today, basically. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember writing the speech about rap.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that class. Matter of fact, I took debate because I was gonna fail a class, and the football coach was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Dude, you got to get a passing grade, or we're not gonna let you play."
Yeah.
That was supposed to be my cake class. I wasn't even supposed to like it
Mm-hmm.
because I don't do that. Like, playing
Yeah.
football, I can be quiet and just hit
Mm-hmm.
someone, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I didn't think that it was gonna have that much of an impact on me. I
Mm.
sat there because I like to read, so the English teacher is the debate coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the class like
Mm.
Miss Sebastian's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not gonna have to do anything at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she actually made me do stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
I will never ever forget that woman. It's certain people that come into your life
Mm-hmm.
and mold your future.
Yeah.
And she was definitely one of them. Like, I
That's
hunted
awesome.
her down on Facebook
Yeah.
years later. Like, I gotta tell you, thank you for everything
Yeah.
you've ever done.
Mm.
And she was like, well, I believed in you. So
Mm-hmm.
she was awesome. So book reports, we would have to do those in high school
Mm-hmm.
still. And I would feel like that was the dumbest thing ever,
Mm-hmm.
because she would want me to read the book, stop 15 to 45 pages in, write some stuff down, read
Mm-hmm.
more, write some stuff down. And when I'm reading, I just want to read. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. I don't want to do the paperwork.
Exactly.
No, just let me read the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it would come to the point to where she would see me reading the book. She knew I knew
Mm-hmm.
all of the details in the books.
Mm.
But as I'm knowing all the details in the books, I never ever did the paperwork.
Mm.
And so she started challenging me. She just said, hey, I'm gonna pick the book out. I want you to come in after school right before you get on the bus, and you're gonna give me a quick synopsis of the pages that you read. And she was picking out crazy books. Like,
Mm-hmm.
back in high school, I never thought I would read Tale of Two Cities or Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedies
Mm.
or Plato or Aristotle. I didn't think that that would be anything that I would be
Yeah.
reading.
Mm-hmm.
But because she said she actually saw that there was potential in me, she started giving me ridiculously harder books.
Mm.
Now I'm trying to figure out what the purpose of life is because of
Yeah.
Plato, or
Yeah.
the duality of
Yeah.
man. And I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
oh my gosh, why am I reading?
Yeah.
But once I got into that speech team, and she told me she thought I would be really good, because
Mm-hmm.
I when I do decide to talk, I'm eloquent.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely took me all the way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
It took me so far out of my comfort zone, but it just felt great. It started
Mm-hmm.
feeling natural. It started feeling like, wow, I'm actually saying stuff that people
Mm.
like.
Yeah.
Wow, this is really
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I just continued to go from there. I loved it. And
That's
now
awesome.
I here I am. Like I said, now I definitely credit the people that have done awesome stuff in my life.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. And speaking of books, I also, always love to ask people, if you were to recommend only 3 books to a person that is just starting out, wants to personally develop themselves, wants to become financially free, wants to be emotionally free, and just become basically their best self, and they can only read 3 books, which 3 books would you recommend?
Oh man, that is a hard one, but I'm gonna be super real. The first one I would
Mhm.
say, I have it every single place. I have it on my phone as Audible. I have it in my room. There's probably a copy. I wish there was a copy in here. That would have been so perfect.
Mhm.
Uh, but Seven Habits of a Highly Effective Life
Okay.
by Stephen R. Covey. That is my top. I read that and it changed a lot of my
Mhm.
life. Uh, I will say that Grant Cardone. Which one of his books though? Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. Uh, Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone would
Mhm.
probably be my next one, and then I would say my last one would probably be Secrets to Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love Zig Ziglar. I love him. Like I got his on Audible. There is like a collection of all
Hmm?
his best speeches, and it's, I
Yeah.
think, around like 14 or 16 hours long. And I was just like, every time I'm in the gym, I was just like listening to Zig Ziglar and all his speeches, and I absolutely loved it. And I was always, writing down like little nuggets that I got from his speeches, and now I have like 10 pages of notes, just from his speeches. And I absolutely love Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and so
So
many amazing people.
check this out. You're gonna love this.
Hmm.
So Easy Metrics, which you will never. I don't care if I become a 10-time over billionaire.
Hmm.
I will never, never, never stop loving this company because
Yeah.
I just wanted to do this for introverts. Easy Metrics, the company that I was just working with, and the
Hmm.
CEO, Jacob Salem, dude, I love that dude like a brother. He believed in me so hard that when I
Yeah.
wanted to make this happen, it broke his heart because obviously, he lost me.
Hmm.
But I told him, like, dude, I will pay for a replacement. Like, I just feel
Yeah.
so strongly that this is calling me. But he was
Hmm.
so supportive on his journey. I'm bringing them up because and I say we because I still look at them as a part of myself because they were
Yeah.
a part of my transformation, my journey. We do all the marketing for the Ziegler Corporation.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
meeting people like Tom Ziegler, like
Hmm.
his daughter, huge, huge, huge influences.
Hmm.
I actually got a really cool book bag. I wish it was in here, man. It's in my bedroom.
Hmm.
But it's a quote from Zig Ziglar that says, "Success is not a destination; it's a journey."
Yeah, yeah.
And just being around that,
Hmm.
being around everything Zig Ziglar because he was a big Christian guy. Like he didn't want to get on the stage with certain people because they
Yeah.
swore, and
Mm.
he was so steadfast in his morals, and he was so steadfast in believing that he was helping people, and
Hmm.
that he was a people's person. To me, that was amazing just being there, and then all of the
Mm.
wisdom that I got from Jacob.
Yeah.
I definitely got to say big kudos to that guy. Like all the wisdom I got from him
Hmm.
on him being around the Ziegler Corporation before I became a part of Easy Metrics.
Yeah.
He would just pour into me sometimes and be like, man, I remember when I did this, and I remember when I did
Mm.
that, and I remember when I did that. And it's crazy the way the universe or God or whatever you
Hmm.
want to believe in works. So my condo is actually about 7 blocks away from where Jacob founded Easy Metrics,
Wow.
in
That's
a house
awesome.
on Kim Drive.
Hmm.
And so everything came full circle.
Hmm.
uh if I go to the right, if I leave out of my parking lot and go to the right, the
Hmm.
college that's his alma mater, that the nerd me walks around and plays Pokemon Go
Yeah.
in, that was his college, and I never would have known that.
Wow. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Awesome. All right, Eldredge, we're getting close to the end of the interview because I wanted to keep them around 1 hour long. But there's one
sounds
last
fun.
question that
All right.
I usually ask people, and I always love the answers that come from this question. But if you had the chance to teach or share to the entire world one single concept, one single mindset, one single exercise, one little nugget of wisdom, right, to make the whole world a better place, and everybody would understand this concept, what would it be?
Oh wow, that is a good one. uh I'm gonna have to say seek to understand before being understood.
Mm, mm.
because
I
I
love
feel
that.
like that would solve a lot of problems.
Hmm.
I feel like if I start digging deep and listening to what you have to say as your
Hmm.
problem, that I'll understand you.
Yeah.
And if I understand that, I'm not only having a deeper understanding of you as a person, but I'm now able to have empathy with you.
Hmm.
And if I can have empathy with you, then I can put myself in your shoes. And if I
Hmm.
can put myself in your shoes, then the decisions I make won't be based off of my own thoughts,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it would be based off of I realize what this guy's going through, or I
Mm.
realize what this girl's going through. And I feel like that probably was the reason why I started my company, if you want me to be
Hmm.
honest, because I know what it's like to be introvert and I want to hang up the phone. I don't want to be on this call. It is so
Yeah.
bad. But making it through the call, and sometimes successful, sometimes not
Hmm.
successful. But then for people to create bonds that now they call me, they don't even work with us anymore, and they
Hmm.
call me and say, hey, how's your daughter? They call her by her name. Hey, how's Serenity
Hmm.
doing? How's the horses doing?
Mm.
To me, seek to understand before being understood is the reason
Yeah.
why that happens.
That's amazing. And I love that, right? Because a lot of people nowadays, they don't really listen to what the other person is saying, but they are already thinking about, all right, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And that's why they can't really focus on actually listening and
Yeah,
understanding, right? And
yeah,
especially also, when it comes to sales, but not only in sales, right? It's literally in relationship building, in every single conversation that you have. This is incredibly important. So I love that, and I would love to, end the interview on those terms of, understand before, being understood. So, Eldredge, is there anything else you would love to share, by the end of the interview here before we wrap this up?
Well, I just want to say, like you said earlier, if anybody is doubting themselves
Hmm.
or, having a little bit of hard trouble, just remember zero,
Yeah.
go back to zero. And if you would love to find out a little bit more information about that type of stuff, you can find me on Facebook,
Hmm.
at regular guy Eldredge.
Hmm.
Instagram, it's just Eldredge Toliver. If you know Brett Eldredge, the country singer, you know now how to spell my name. Super,
Awesome.
super simple. I have a free group. You can come in there and see training. I actually have a recording of that Brian Flanagan interview
Mm,
where we got a chance to meet him. Come in there and just learn.
that's
My goal
fantastic.
is to just deliver value and help you out as much as possible.
That's amazing. I will definitely leave links in the description down below, guys. So if you want to check, Eldridge out, if you want to connect to him, search him up on Facebook. I will leave the links in the description down below. And also, join his group if you want to learn more about, how to step into your power, get out of your comfort zone, get out of yourself, and truly, start doing great things, become great, and in the end, become your best self. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Leave this video a thumbs up, and also make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. And yeah, with that said, Eldridge, thank you so much for this interview. I know, it's very early on, and instead of meditating from 5:30 to 6:30, you got on this interview. So I really appreciate that. You definitely, inspired myself, and you shared a lot of amazing stuff. I got goosebumps, in certain times of the interview. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and yeah, have a blessed day.
You too, man. Thank you so much. I
Thank you
had
so much.
fun.
Awesome. Awesome. Happy to hear that. Cheers. Bye bye.